How would you do it, Mike? So two of us.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny.
Did you have a good Labor Day as well? Good holiday? We got it one last school day. I'm gonna get hurt. I'm pretty oh my God.
Well, I always feel like uh, the cooler days out, you don't feel like you're getting the sunburn. Mhm. All right, you are all good to go. You're recording, slides are up.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Happy birthday, belated. Yeah. Good morning. Good morning again. Yes, Sarah, and remind me again. Kendall. Kendall, my girl. Wow, you guys have turned for every class? I've missed 4. Pretty good. Yeah. That's awesome. And I know the last time some people had this book and some people didn't. So are we still kind of like that? Just because I missed some stuff that's already to it. Well, for this class, I'm so excited. So the last class, y'all talked about making offers, making and receiving offers. Negotiating. Okay. So this class is jam packed. So one great time to be 5 minutes late. I'm not in a rush today. I don't know if they have another class at 11 or not. So we will. Team meeting. Oh, that's right. Okay, then I gotta say. Okay, so we will boost you Cody through this today. Let me see if I can get my clicker. Hello, YouTube world. Hope everyone had a great Labor Day. Okay, so we are gonna get to the close. Who wants the money? Show me the money. Travis. We're closing, right? All right, so we're gonna get to the close. So I brought the soul sign today because let me tell you, these are just so fun to put in afterwards. We're gonna sit this. We're gonna sit it here. It'll come back in a book. So, and I will be looking at command at some point. Have any of y'all started an opportunity in command? Yes, I know you have, right, Travis? Not yet, Brandon. I don't know how to share my screen, so since you haven't done it, I'm probably gonna like walk around and just like click a little bit. And I'll go over a past transaction and opportunities. If I'm extra, I brought a little extra. I brought a contract that I've recently had in Ohio on the buy side. And then this is something Nick and I do give out to our buyers and sellers. It's a little more buyer focused, but this is part of our package that we give to our clients. So that will help us because we're going to go over the transaction timeline today. So hooray! Yay! You wrote the offer and you got under contract. So now we're going to go over the process of the transaction, getting to that closing table, and then we're also going to go over timelines, communication, and your fiduciary role as the buyer or seller's real estate agent. Right. Tony up. Who are you? Do I have to sit up here? Okay.
All right, we've all read that.
Yeah, does the do not call list cover texting?
Yes.
Oh, thank God. Get like 15 texts a day and calls from realtors wanting to buy my properties. And it's so annoying.
Ooh. Fair housing. Okay. All right. So today's agenda, like I said, we're gonna go over those timelines, our best practices, risk avoidance, getting some referrals and reviews, your post-closing, your follow-up, what does that plan look like? We're gonna have our recap and ahas, and then daily success system. Like I said, we're gonna go through this today. Are we really doing the daily success system? Is that what it's called? No,
I'm doing my version.
your version. Ish. Okay, tiptoeing around it. Anything? Okay, because I know we just have so much to pack in, and I don't want you to feel like, we missed out on the end. Is everybody hitting that at the end of these classes? Or is it just more about the teaching?
I think it's been more about the teaching, and then we kind of go off and do whatever version we're doing
Okay.
of that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so, in the last two sessions, you covered making and receiving offers, like we talked about in your negotiation tactics. So today we're gonna focus forward on the sales process and, what has your progress been like so far with your daily success system?
Ask somebody else first.
I know, Travis, he's like, how do you track? Because I know you make contacts and stuff pretty regularly. What system do you use? Yeah, long as you go. Mm-hmm.
I've had,
Still for you, Kendall.
so mine is like, I'm going through my database, letting people know that I switched careers.
Yeah.
And then I'm a realtor, and then I have my
You're
newsletter.
licensed now.
Yeah.
I don't think you were.
No, I am.
You're
That was
licensed
Taylor.
now? Okay.
I'm licensed, yeah,
Yay.
since the end of May.
Okay.
So, and then sending out my newsletter, and my newsletter, like, over the, I think it was Friday, a very good friend of ours called, was like, hey, we're gonna downsize from Wyoming. They have a
Oh.
massive house,
Yeah.
and, and they're like, we're gonna sell, and we wanna use you, and we wanna buy, and these are the neighborhoods, and,
So you get a referral in Wyoming?
no, she's my friend.
Oh.
And they wanna buy and sell. They're gonna sell their house.
Yeah.
Which I have to run comps for, which I'm like, oh my God, I can't even imagine what.
Oh,
prices
I'm
are.
thinking Wyoming. Yeah, Wyoming here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry,
sorry.
they didn't put Wyoming,
I was just like,
Not
oh,
the
Wyoming,
state.
that's fun. Okay.
Jackson, Wyoming. And so that was like good, because I didn't even reach out to her, but she was like, yep, we just decided.
You think she saw your newsletter and it just kind of re-grounded you two together?
Yeah, we're pretty well connected, so
Cool.
she knew.
Yeah.
And then she and her husband talked about it, they're like, yeah, we want to use you.
Awesome.
I'm like, wow.
So did you set an appointment?
They're gonna talk about it, and then we're gonna get together, I think, this next week.
Yeah, it's holidays.
Holidays,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's a fun dance. Let them know you're there. I have somebody that's going through a divorce. Like, literally was sitting with his wife at dinner last night. I was like, hey, do you want to sign this tonight or do you want me to send this tomorrow? He's like, well, we're literally talking about dinner right now. I was like, yeah, we'll talk tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, God love us. It's a fun career. Okay. Anybody else want to share anything about connecting with people, logging it? How's it going? Here to help. Yeah. So good. Good. It's good. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Okay. So did anybody have any like challenges? Like you sound like you just connected because I was your friend. Is there any challenges that you've had with maybe just I don't like to say lead gen, so get beat over the head, but any challenges that you want to share? We can steamroll through. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, yeah. And some people don't even leave a voicemail. That's up to you, right? Like, and then maybe follow up with a text, and then it gives them an opportunity to answer how they want. I feel like that works a lot for me.
Have you tried that trick that Susie gave us, which is like calling right back? Like calling, they don't answer, and then immediately calling right back.
Thanks.
She said like sometimes even if they don't recognize the number, that will
Trigger it
Well,
might be
maybe,
important.
maybe it might be important. Yeah, and then they're like, oh.
Because I do that. That's a good tip from our broker.
Yeah.
Hey, girl. Okay. And then are you guys meeting with accountability partners or is it just more solo activity? More solo?
Yeah, I taxed with Taylor and Doug
Fun.
this week. We got accountability partners. That's
Okay, cool. I know Bold is coming up and there's a lot of accountability in Bold. So if you feel like you want to get better at that, but not in like a high pressure kind of way, Bold makes it really fun because you have your small group and your small table. So I am also challenged with accountability. I like autonomy. I don't like accountability. So I would highly recommend at least going to first steps in like tiptoeing. You've done both before, right, Travis? Yeah. Like good for accountability. It just like kind of keeps those juices going in the fall leading up into the holidays.
You've been through it too, right?
Yeah. Good. Oh, dang. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so this session is actually going to be about getting to a successful close because it's true that not all deals are actually going to make it to the closing table. The best tactic to be prepared is to have the mindset of navigating the process successfully for your client. And let's remember the 6 core competencies you learned earlier. The 5th one, coordinate the sale to the closing. It's an essential skill, and that's right made to the list of the core competencies. It's a skill to be taken seriously. So we're going to move on to the rest of the transaction while remembering all the successful negotiation points as they are necessary throughout the process. So today, we're going to cover, this is going to mess me up. Hold on to that thought. We're going to cover develop transaction timelines, apply your best practices to avoid risk, identify ways to follow up after close to build a business. So start thinking about what we're going to learn today. Let's consider what questions we might have and what you'd like to learn more about. So I'm going to give you guys like, this says 5 minutes, but I'm going to give you like 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. Just think of some questions you might have, little chitter chatter about what you'd like to learn more about today. Obviously, I like to go off script a little, so feel free to talk amongst yourselves about what you want to learn
I'd love to see or get a copy of your sheet that you held up.
Just scan it. You can scan it from your phone?
Scan it.
You know how to scan it, your iPhone?
Yeah. Okay. But or I can take it out to the copier.
There you go. Well, I mean, honestly, when I was on a team, that's what we used, and I just kind of finagled it. I need to hire someone to update it, put like our new branding and stuff on it.
Right. Will,
Anything that you want to learn today with the transaction timeline, get to close, follow up referrals.
Practices on like building not follow through. So ways to keep it going so that we can actually get to the goals.
I'd like to when a deal falls apart because of inspection, it's kind of like you understand that. Parties won't negotiate or something, whatever happens, or there was something found. But what can you do to make sure it doesn't fall apart with vague financing reasons? Or is that something you can't really fight either? From the if I'm the seller and the buyer's like, oh, couldn't get financing. I know that we had a neighbor and the deal fell apart because they said, they gave them the reason that they couldn't get insurance on the house, which was not true. Like the house was completely insurable, that later sold. So it's like, how do you navigate that to have a positive outcome? How do you contest something like that?
Nice. I'm just trying to pull up this opportunity situation. Do you have anything?
If somebody's pulling the insurance card, that pretty much is the easiest way for the buyers to get out, so. As of now, I can't think of an answer for your seller or something.
Yeah, I mean, like, do you have any questions about it?
Oh, no.
We've been through so many closings.
Think so. Sweet.
Or financing, like, if things fall apart, financing. What makes it fall apart?
Okay, awesome. Well, I was trying to pull that up, but it didn't happen. Thanks for sharing, you guys. It's kind of like seasoned guy and whatever you can teach me today, and then some specifics. So that was like the perfect blend of just when we get to it, I can segue off a little bit. Thank you for all that. Brandon, can you read this for me, please?
Real estate transactions aren't particularly trouble-free. It's a strenuous, trying time that requires all the attention and effort you can.
I can hear Gary's voice. All right, so, there's so many steps in a real estate transaction. When we go over the timeline of documents and who's involved, for a second, you're like, wow, like, I really need to be on it because there's so many other things that I can't control. So thank you, Brandon. Okay.
So the reason, this part of the process, this class, it's the important part because it's how you get paid. You don't get paid to play, you get paid to close. And then it's also where your client gets that either relief from selling or the excitement from buying. I guess it could be exciting selling. You get a big old check, huh? All right, so we're gonna start with our timelines. As real estate agents, it's important to keep track of your deadlines in the contract. So has anybody had a contract from the other classes recently that you've been kind of fiddling with and using? No? Okay, this is what it says. So I brought one as an example. There is a timeline in your participant guide. I know a couple of you have that. So we're going to use the contract to plot out different timelines. And I'm actually going to be like a true educator. I'm right on the same board today.
Well, I love it.
What we got? How about red? Fire up. So let's see what we have for red. All right. All right, so this is an example that they're giving for a contract timeline because we've already written the offer, we're under contract now. We're going to kind of break this up into smaller pieces and get really detailed about communication, documents, and what those deadlines are gonna look like. So they're also reminding me to let you know, just because it's a lead doesn't make it a client. Your client is when you are having back and forth conversations about real estate, and getting under contract doesn't mean that you're closing the deal or that you're going to get paid. This is another reason why having everything command as an opportunity. So you set the appointment with the buyer, you get their buyer rep agreement signed, you're inputting that into command. So once you have that, you took the appointment, you've got the contract. This will be happening in bold too. They're gonna ask you about appointments and if you got your buyer rep agreement signed. So from there, you're gonna have that in there. And then you're showing homes and you're you're working to get under contract. So if you get under contract and it falls out, this is gonna help you track your numbers and you're gonna get lots of really good information. So absolutely, as soon as you get your buyer rep agreement, make sure they're in command if they weren't already. All right, so who in the room has bought or sold a home? Personally, professionally? I mean, Brandon's like, I'm telling you, I'm here, like whatever you want to teach me. Well, that's amazing. I figured that was at least the case with you. I know you do a lot of rental properties. I know you sold some homes, and I know you sold some homes. But you know, more props to you, young man, if you already bought your first property. Soon comes. Soon comes. We'll get you there. So what did you have to do after you signed your contract as a consumer? My consumers in the room. Signed your contract, get your inspection.
Get financing.
I was gonna take notes. You said inspection. Financing. Always that so far? Okay. What's that, Jenna? I'm here. Everybody's here.
She's in the back of her head.
And posting this time for the love. All right. I'm bad enough about posting. I need you to post it. So a lot of people work together to make the closing happen. So we went over a couple. This is at the beginning, your inspection, your financing, maybe maybe you need to go ahead and talk to your insurance person because your insurance is also in your contract, at least now, we're at like now, that contract period or that inspection period. So a lot of people do work together to make your closing happen. And as a real estate agent, you and the other agent in the transaction are the conductors. You're coordinating all the people and tasks that occur between the contract and the closing. So it's likely to be a time of high stress for your client and for you possibly. So your relationship and communication with your client is just as important as your relationship and communication with other parties that can make the deal happen. I started this because I just want to give an example of something that I say and share during the listing or consultation. I remind them of this once we get under contract. Like, it's stressful when you're writing offers or you're in multiple offers. It's stressful, really stressful during inspection, especially like I feel like the first time home buyer, they're just so stressed. They think like this house, oh, the wind's gonna blow it down. I gotta like go ham and like do this nice honey-do list. Working with one of those right now on the listing side. But I just remind them that when you're full of emotion, let's make sure we get on a phone call. Like if we're texting and we're feeling like we're not communicating effectively, I'm okay with text 100% or email. But if emotion is involved, we're going to get on a phone call. And I make them agree to that and very aware that that's how we're going to operate when we first meet. And they respect that. So I'm like, I'm looking out for you. And if you don't see me being emotional, don't think it means that I don't care. I don't have to be emotional to care. And I always use an example of a duck when they're swimming. You don't see their little legs going crazy underneath the water. You just see them going right along. You don't see like the crazy work that they're doing. So just like, just because you don't see me sweating and being dramatic, it doesn't mean that I'm not a hero and making the deal go great. Cool. Okay. Told you I was going to go off the rails. All right. So we'll use their timeline, I guess. We'll go into a little bit more detail because that's always fun. All right. So we already went over this. Now let's just say in the transaction as a whole, we mentioned as a consumer. So let's list a few more. That would be just buyer or seller, either side. They're not being specific. So who else would be involved in a real estate transaction other than an inspector and we'll say a lender?
Insurance.
Yep.
Possibly a contractor.
Oh yeah. Gotta get them bids.
You even break inspection down from the home inspector, even the termite inspector,
Yep.
or roof inspector. Depending on the case.
Yep. Radon. What else are we doing?
Sewer.
Mold, sewer scopes, financing. So Your lender, they might have an assistant.
Yeah.
Right? Your big lenders, they're not doing all their files, the
They have the-
processor.
Appraiser and the underwriter.
Yep.
Staying underwriters. And then you have the title company.
Look at title, they're just under the radar. We always forget about it. They're just doing their thing. If you don't hear from them, everything's good.
Right. Yeah.
And one of my favorites is a transaction coordinator, TC. Woohoo! All right, so that's a pretty good start. All right, so we're gonna focus on buyers first. What's the first thing that your buyer needs? Remember, you just got under contract. What does your buyer need?
They need to know the timeline, know equity,
Mhm. Okay.
they need to know insurance companies, oh, something that every company that has a part.
What'd you say?
I was telling the buyers. to
Start there.
check it to the company that has a part.
Absolutely.
Especially now.
A great tip.
That's all they do is bundle.
Yeah. Your lender is a great person for insurance. So I like to work with the same lenders because I know that they're gonna cover insurance, so I can just say, there's no miscommunication. I feel like insurance, especially if they're not from around here, maybe that's always on the agent, but around here, I feel like the lender does primarily help the buyer with their insurance. So, when you're having coffees, or have you had any lender meetups yet? Oh, gotta get it going. So just asking, like, what do you do for insurance? You know, we were talking about this in class, and I want to make sure that, you know, my clients are in good hands. You have multiple referrals. Is that something you take care of, or do you anticipate that the buyer's agent helps them with that? They're gonna be like, wow, look at you. So this is awesome, referrals. So in your phone, when you save the company, your electrician, like, make sure you're putting what they are. And then you can just share the contact. So we'll go over this more. What do the buyers need to know and do? This is kind of what we're just saying, what they need to know and do. So at the very beginning, when you're going over this with them, the process, you have planted the seed of what they need to know and what they need to do. So they selected their real estate agent, they obtained their pre-approval, they analyzed, so they did a buyer consult, analyze needs, select properties, so whether they're looking in the portal or their husband is sending them to them or whatever. Then you're gonna view property, so they kind of know what to expect, and then it even breaks it down for like getting their specific pre-approval, negotiating terms, accepting contract, removing contingencies. That's my favorite part. I'm like, look at all this going on. You might not even know it. If we didn't tell you, they don't know unless you tell them. Like I always say, it's the first time home buyer. Don't even think, or a second time, don't even think they learned the first time. They were just like following instructions, right? Like whatever you say, I'll do.
Well, it could be, I mean, like in case of my friends, it's like, gosh, it's 20 years in between their first home and their home now.
Totally different market. Just
I mean,
forgot.
they just could have just forgotten.
Yeah.
Of the process too. 'Cause
For
I
sure.
don't remember stuff 20 years ago.
I'd like to forget.
Exactly.
And then what do I need to know and what do I need to do? You just nailed it with referrals. Like just having all of the referrals and what people need is huge. When you get those little magazines, I'm in like a newer community, so they always send us these magazines with like concrete people, brick people, roofers, painters, deck state, like start calling these people and asking them questions and like making sure they're legit and start saving them or maybe meeting them. Maybe invite them to be like a speaker for you. What does the rest of the team, other agent, inspectors, lenders need to know? Take action and win. They go over this stuff so many times. What am I doing at each point to bulletproof the transaction and set myself and buyers up for a successful close? All right. And I do use command. William, what do you use command? Do you send any like tasks. I don't do that, but I know some agents like to use the tasks. They create like a task list in Command.
I haven't done that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Do you have like a system to where you let them know like next steps?
Just in communication, I'm big on just, this is what's happening next.
Yeah.
Just,
Like a text or a phone call when you're like negotiating inspections? You're like, well, this is what's gonna happen next.
yeah,
This is how long they have to respond.
and it's to the point of a habit that a while ago, there was explained how appraisal gap, how that works and everything, and we, it was appraised 10,000 under.
Yeah.
Well, it's, when I found that out, there's a little like freak out, like, how am I gonna tell them this? And
Uh-huh.
they're like, well, you told me that was a possibility.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm so good.
So they were
Nice.
like, you were expecting.
You were communicating effectively. So you're just like so good at it, you forgot you did it, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Awesome. All right. All right. So more of the timeline here. Like I said, I have my contract. I can definitely walk around. I'm just trying to make sure I cover everything here. All right. So we're going to use the initials. Inspector list to buyers, the buyer's agent. So they have that here at the beginning. So your either text, email, you can send them the affiliate list, right, guys? We have a ton of inspectors and we have a ton of lenders. Send them business, please. They do pay to play and they're really, really good at it. They're really good at their jobs. They care. They want to work with us. They're like, we want to build relationships with agents and people. They're already involved in the office. So you should at least have one affiliate as a go-to, like no questions. All right, so inspector list to your buyer. You're also getting earnest money to buyer. So earnest money. So contracts, how long do you typically do for inspections for your buyer to have their inspection and also get your defect notice over to the listing agent? Covers 2 weekends, so it's usually pretty good, right? Does anybody hear from 10 yet?
I feel like that we had a class where they were like, well, 10 is a lot in this market. I think they're like, we are more like 5. And then, but isn't it like you have inspection periods 5 and then the after or sometime during that 5, there's also the remedy timeline, because isn't it like they're
So-
stacked, or are they
Your 5-day is to get all of your inspections,
and ask?
and radon takes 72 hours. So that's 3 days.
Right.
So like, back to the referrals. Hey, Gerard Home Inspections, I am writing an offer, and we really want to slim this down because I think if we can write a 5-day inspection, it's Saturday, so if we get under contract by tomorrow, they're looking at offers tomorrow. Monday will be the first day, so do you guys have openings Monday through Friday? And they're gonna be like, I can get you in on Wednesday. Like, okay, well, they have radon, you'll be able to drop that off in time. They're like, yeah, we would ask, whatever, you know. So you look amazing to your client because you already got in touch with one of your preferred home inspectors, and then you are able to go ahead and get that inspection completed quicker. And so that's a great term, but there are ways to bulletproof it and make sure that you can actually perform and that doesn't blow up in the buyer's face. Because the seller only wants it to go quickly in case they are buying and selling simultaneous, or if they're afraid that they're going to go back on market. So they want to be able to go back on market by that next weekend. So Friday, they get that defect notice from you and it's hot trash. They're like, I don't think so. Like, this wasn't a honey-do list. And at that point, you know, they're like sending back, like, not interested working with you or whatever. But they can go back on the market on Saturday,
Right.
or Friday.
In the contract, is it that the inspection period and and the negotiation of the remedy list, is that all one time or is it?
Probably a good time to look at the contract.
Just two different times.
That's what I thought. I thought it was two
Yeah.
different time periods.
It's two. So,
Cause you can put like 5 days for inspection and then like 3 days for negotiation or something. like that.
settlement and your cancellation period.
Yeah,
All right.
and those are not, God, what's the word? Congruent? Is that correct word?
They start when the other one ends, the following day. So go ahead. So in your contract in Ohio on page 6, you're gonna say what kind of inspections you're gonna have. Line 297, you're usually conducting full inspections, like for this, I put 7 days.
Mhm.
So we put 7 days, there were multiple offers, I reached out ahead of time, confirmed that they had openings, it would be a problem. And then, on your next page, 7, here it is, for, you can send your defect notice within 5 calendar days, that's your consideration period that the seller gets to respond. So I try to give the seller almost as much time as the buyer, that it falls in their court, if they would make it faster than they can, if they wanna take up the whole time, pull on us, like, doesn't matter to us. But I think it's disrespectful when an agent does like 10 days for their buyer inspection, does like 3 days for the seller to consider it. Like, look at the calendar and how it falls, well, what if that falls on Friday, how are they gonna get a whole contractors during the whole weekend?
Right.
You know, and like, that's to get multiple bids, you know, so I'm always careful about that. And then after that, so let's say they respond after that 5 days, next we'll have our settlement period. I call it the come to Jesus period. Like, we're all gonna get together and we are going to compromise on it. And if it doesn't, if you don't get a compromise from the buyer, seller, then it's gonna terminate.
Right.
After 2 days. Okay. Like this, back to.
Sorry. So you have 7 days to do the inspection. That ends.
Mhm.
Then the 5 days for the seller to consider your asks begins. So that's,
I'll respond back to you in
that,
writing.
yep, goes right back. So that's 12 days. And then negotiating back and forth is 2 days.
So maybe.
So that could be 2 weeks.
Yeah, 14 days total.
Yeah.
Which falls within the insurance. The contract says 14 days.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
inform your listing agent of inspection schedule. Inspection, okay, so informing the listing agent of inspection schedule.
Hey, we just want.
Yeah, hey, listing agent, Gerard Home Inspections is gonna be reaching out for her inspection on Wednesday if they haven't yet already. Just giving you a heads up, you know, is that gonna work for your seller? This is just extra touches to have a really good co-op relationship. Instead of like 8 AM request coming in hot on a Tuesday for a Wednesday morning, I don't know.
Yeah.
You try to get ahead of the ball, right? So sending your inspection response, so we talked about the timeline. I kind of skipped over earnest money. My transaction coordinator handles earnest money as far as copying and pasting the link for the wire. And then also, sending that to the agent saying that we got the earnest money. So inspections. All right, so we get the inspections back, we review them with the client on the phone, in person. This is a good time to talk, because I don't want to get off. Basically, I just remind them that we're not sending to do risk back. We're not sending cosmetic, it's in the defect notice. But there could be a whole class on inspections, and I highly recommend going to NECs that pertain to inspections, because it is one of the sharpest tools in your tool belt to make sure you know how to write up addendums and properly coach your buyers, while still being their fiduciary, but also like letting them know, like, let's stay in the reality realm. it's a $200,000 house. If you ask for $30,000 in repairs, do you think that's gonna go over very well? Okay.
Yeah, because repairs can be subjective too.
Absolutely. So don't think-
Legally in,
Yeah.
not necessarily a repair.
Yeah. Or an inspector saying there's mold,
I mean, it's bad mold.
doesn't mean it's bad mold.
No.
Doesn't mean they have to disclose it because you guys couldn't agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so appraisal due, this usually, I time this also with negotiations on, our inspections. This is where talking to your lender is gonna be key. Hey, we sent that over to the seller. We're waiting to hear back. I don't think there's any deal breakers here. Already talked to the buyers about it. I think we're good. I'll confirm with them that you can go ahead and order the appraisal. Now, also, as a listing agent, when you see that appraisal request come through early, you're like, they're good. They don't even care about what they just asked for. So that's why, again, be sharp, be bulletproof, keep your fiduciary in mind about your buyer. Because once they get that appraisal request, they're like, oh, they're probably feeling pretty good. Like this isn't gonna fall out. Not always the case, but sometimes when you get that, it's a little comforting to the seller.
Because the buyer will pay, will have to pay the bank for the appraisal if the deal does fall apart.
Not always. It depends on the lender.
Okay.
So some of them collect it at closing, some collect it up front. It's a great question to ask when you're at your lunch with your new favorite lenders. Let's see. Some of it just make it a cost of business. Like if you start title file, it's just a cost of business that it didn't close. They can't make you go back and pay for a title search that you didn't close on.
Got it.
So that would be a great question to ask lenders. And then after appraisal, I'm not gonna get into that hugely, but appraisal, let's say it's all good. Then we're gonna have our final walkthrough period, 48 hours, 24 hours before closing. And that's just to make sure the home is in as good or better condition. So let's say they fixed a couple of things, they have their receipts already sent to you via email, sitting there on the countertop. Okay, the roof was completed the way we said. They sent pictures of it. The downspout was, it was sagging, that got fixed. We had some mortar that needed to be fixed around the chimney, et cetera, et cetera. This faucet isn't leaking anymore. We're testing it, that kind of stuff. All right. Oop, we are so running late. I'm hurrying. So interaction and communication points. So common interaction points, deadlines, communicating contract to other parties such as title and lending, lender and buyer communication, communication of lists of companies, inspectors, insurance agents, our referrals, our affiliates, scheduling and communication with inspectors and listing agent, sending amendments or inspection reports to other side, title, and lending. All right. Communication of deadlines. Something that I find very effective and most of my clients really appreciate, and it's really easy. Whenever you get your contract signed, you're going to go ahead and put all your timelines and deadlines into a calendar, and you're going to send them a calendar invite. So last day to send inspection addendum, last day for inspection repairs, whatever. Okay, Mrs. Smith at gmail.com, me, Nick, my business partner. So we all know, and that's just a reminder. You don't put a time, it'll just come up as a reminder. And obviously, if you send it over earlier, then you're going to update that response period from the seller, because if you put that in, now you got to move that date. But we put those in at the maximum amount for the client. And I even put in the closing date just to put it in there.
Yep.
Because when you have 8 deals, even if you have a transaction coordinator, it gets a little wonky. And then you're like, oh, wait, they wanted to close early and the lender said we could close early. Did we confirm it? Did the listing agent confirm it? Oh, I didn't put a time in yet. We're not confirmed yet. So like having these little reminders in your calendar from the jump is going to be great.
Do you use like Google Calendar or like Calendar?
I just use Google for now. Calendly is great. I just Google, simplify. Okay, contract, title, money. Another thing, as the listing agent, do not feel like you're gonna send the lender the contract. Leave that on the buyer. Don't, because they have a couple of days to decide if they're gonna stick with that lender or use a different one. And you're gonna shoot yourself in the foot because 2 lenders are gonna start to file and they're gonna be really mad at you. All right, lender and buyer communication. Lender, hey, we got under contract. I have the buyer. Here is the contract. This is what title company we plan to use unless you talk to the buyer about another one, blah, blah, blah. Communication of referrals, we already talked about that. Communication. Okay, I think I nailed that one. Additional questions to ask yourself. When am I reminding the buyers to not make big purchases? Oh, these are like fun questions.
Very first time you meet with them and every day after.
If it has comma, it causes drama.
Okay.
That's what I said. They get a big kick out of it. Yeah, it's just fun, you know. So if you want to kill your deal, go buy a car. Go, even if you do that, you know, 24 months lease to pay whatever.
Yeah.
That can still mess up the deal because it still goes on your credit, even though it didn't cost anything. So like, don't go buy that expensive $500 rug and your new patio set and rack up your Lowe's bill because it can show up on your credit again. Like I have people all the time, what about the refrigerator? And I'm like, double check with the lender in case it pops up when they repull your credit at the end. I don't think it would, but if you could wait until clear close, at least, I'm like, talk to the lender. And, you know, new construction all the time. There's no refrigerator. So they're like, we want to buy a refrigerator. We have baby milk. We got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it gets crazy. So pretty much at the beginning with movers, like all this stuff. That's why it's also important to like know their debt to income ratio with their purchase. Like if it's really tight, they don't need to be spending money. And lender, if you have a really good lender, they're talking to them about that too. When am I communicating when to set up utilities and how to do it? What do you think? Utilities and how to do it for your buyer. Week closing, yeah. You're pretty much clear to close or you're scheduling closing.
Yeah, I would say 48 hours before. Wouldn't you say most sellers wait till the day of closing and then they will I mean, we did whenever we've sold stuff. We don't turn off the utilities the day of closing.
You just schedule it.
We close it
Mhm.
and then we schedule, we
Yeah.
call Duke on the way back
Yeah.
and like get it transferred. So we
You're
give,
probably less stressed than most people than I would say. Because
I'm also maybe nicer.
I find that most people want a 1 week notice, like William said, like they just want a reminder. And then, and I even put in the calendar, utility reminder,
Yeah,
like Pine Bluff, utility reminder. And then they get attached to it. I've put people's 1 year construction warranties in and like, they're like, yep, I already did it. Cause you put it in my calendar. They're like, you're freaking amazing. Like it was easy, but thanks. So I would say a week. And then again, before you're getting ready to close, because sometimes they're like, I called Duke and they said that they don't blah, blah, blah this. Oh, well, Owen does the gas, so Duke does the electric. Sorry about that. Yeah. You need to call Owen for the,
yeah.
Don't
We
wait
gotta
till
call this place,
yeah.
water and it takes, you gotta put
Yeah.
deposit down, they take
Go in
4 days to come
person.
out. Like Norwood.
uh-huh. Am I communicating notice of any holidays that may delay the process? You can even talk about this, like when you're dream casting and you're visioning with them. If I wave my magic wand and I got you in under contract and you could close and get the keys to your home in the next 30 to 45 days, would that pose a problem for you? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, let's shoot for 45 days because 4th of July is also going on. And they're like, yeah, I didn't think about that. Okay, how do I negotiate inspection report and when am I communicating this information? I think we nailed that one, right? When do I touch base with the lender, title company, or listing agent? When do I touch base with a lender? Well, you let them know that you got her in contract. Title. So, lender, are you gonna send this over to title? Or am I sending it to title? A lot of lenders send it over to title because they have the packet ready, they have everything they need, and then they're like, yep, now we're gonna do title. They don't send the title order right away, usually. And listing agent. I touch base with a listing agent, try to over communicate, and sometimes you kind of follow their lead, right? Like, were they extra on it, or were they kind of like,
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, not yeah, like you still want to be the fiduciary and like do a good job, but like if they're not being extra kind and saying, hey, this is coming up for us, or we have this, or would your buyers want this refrigerator? Like if they're not being like extra friendly, I dial it back a little bit. I don't want them to think they can steamroll me.
Do you communicate with them like via email so that everything's in writing?
Ooh, that comes up too.
Oh.
If we make to it. Any phone conversations, do you want to follow up with an email or a text? If you say something over the phone, follow up with a text or an email. The answer is yes, Brandon. Because I learned something today. Because the way one person heard it could mean something else. And sometimes all this stuff happens so last minute. You're at the end and you guys both agree to extend an inspection. Well, the listing agent thought that you meant just the sewer scope. You thought you meant the whole entire inspection. The little things, right?
Well, and with something like that too, that wouldn't be just an email, that would have to be
An addendum. Mhm.
because it doesn't matter what's said in the email.
Yeah.
In that case.
Well, when they get the addendum, they'll be like, that's not what we said.
Right.
That was a fresh example. All right, documentation points. Is this an active communication or a document? So I tried to go through and say, certain things like this is a document. You refill out, you fill out your earnest money receipt, or you fill out, oh, I still have that, I don't remember. Yes, where you got your earnest money and you sign it. Okay, cool. So that's a document. At the beginning, your contract that you send to the lender, that's a document. Inspections, that's a document. Defect notice. Appraisal, might not be a document unless it doesn't appraise a value, then you're gonna document new value. Appraisal, you're renegotiating. Maybe they agreed to give some concessions, but now they're not. Maybe they agreed to 3% commission. Now they're not. So you're going to have an addendum. Addendum. Okay. To whom and from is document going? I feel like we've went over quite a bit of scenarios. The best pathway for communication, send a document to the responsible party, email, phone, text, DocuSign. We went over this in bold. Travis, you were in the last bold, right? Okay, so okay, yes. So I was a captain. I was like extra squirrely. You're like more squirrely than now? Yes. So he's like, you don't just send it from DocuSign or .loop. It looks unprofessional. You download all of your documents in a PDF, and then you send it from your beautiful email that has your email signature, and you write up a body. It does look a lot better. I make it do it. He's like, ooh.
Somebody went through that in one of our classes too.
Yeah.
Can't remember who, but
it looks better.
Yeah.
Get you that chic and sexy email signature. Make you look super professional. What is the plan for follow-up after a document has been sent to the responsible party? You send over your inspection, like a defect notice. Are you just sending it over and just waiting for the listing agent to decide to check their email? You gonna shoot them a text?
Yeah, it's at least let me know if you have any questions.
Yeah, confirm receipt, sent it over. Like, that's just a good co-op relationship. Maybe they're at a graduation party. doing graduation party things. Are there templates for this that I can use or create to save effort and streamline communication across transactions? So I know that there are ways to set up tasks in Command. I haven't done it. I did do it in Dotloop, so I'm still doing that before we convert fully to DocuSign. But once you create your steps, I can show you. But once you create those, you just download like your template and then it's there for every single time. Because a successful business person is going to have systems.
That's my number one driver in all of these classes. So
Yeah.
you have to have a system.
It's your new accountability partner, y'all. So you don't have to talk to anybody. Your template is your accountability partner.
If you can template it out, even the email, even the email verbiage,
Yes,
you could
like a
template-
canned email.
Yes.
Yes.
And then you just kind of alter it a little or whatever, fill in. So that you're just like, check, I sent that email and it said this.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna keep flying. Are we good?
Yep.
All right, anybody need to do some stretches? The last class I wore a brown shirt, I sweated out, so I wore a black one today. I was like, God bless. And I did not bring my coffee in. I only brought water. All right. All right. Kendall, can you read this?
A seller transaction, who's involved in the transaction? A seller transaction involves more than you, just you and the seller. There are many people you are responsible for bringing into the transaction. It is your responsibility to set high standards and keep them in the conversation loop.
That's right. You're good.
Blah, blah, blah.
What am
Do you want me to read that? Or small group, brainstorm?
Nah, we're a small group already,
Yeah.
so we're good. Keeping it tight.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you. So let's dig into the seller timeline. With buyer timelines, this list is more about deadlines. It's not really like a list of to-dos and meeting the deadlines. They include documents, communication points, people involved. So potential areas that add to the timeline and what the party is responsible for. So the next slide. Some questions. What is the first thing my seller needs? What do the sellers need to know and do? William? From the beginning, when we get under contract. That's right. That's good. Yeah. It's a very good one. And what do they need to know and do? A lot of times, like, what do we do to prepare for the inspection? Well, if you didn't prepare for it already, you know, I always say make sure you have a new filter in your furnace. I always say that. Make sure all your light bulbs are working and on, which they should have been for realistic pictures. Make sure they have access to the attic. Like they don't have a car parked in like the garage and they can't get up into the attic space. Stuff like that. I just go over some examples with them. Make sure all those child locks are off of the kitchen cabinets or under the sink. I've had inspectors be like, I cannot get this one off. I don't know how to do it. And I'm like, let me ask the seller. So little things like that, like preparing for the home inspection. Let them know, like, that's a window. I've had somebody have an inspector be like an hour late and they were like, they're not here yet. I watched the camera, they're not here yet. Are they not coming? I'm like, that's more of a window. They don't have to be there right at 8 o'clock. They might be there at 8:45. They're just letting you know from 8 to 11, they're going to be there. They'll be done by 11. Well, are you sure they're late? I'm like, I'm sure. And then, let's see. Oh, let them know, do I need to be there? No. It's going to be the inspector and the buyer, maybe, usually, and maybe their agent, maybe a family member.
I would think I would tell my seller, no, you are not allowed to be there.
It's best that you're not there. Yeah. A lot of people work from home.
Yeah.
So they're like, can I just sit in my room, let the inspector know, like, hey, they can't leave? Or
Yeah.
I've been to a showing once where there was an elderly person in a bedroom in the basement. They couldn't leave.
Sure.
Yeah, things happen. What do I need to know and do? So as the listing agent, you'll get the inspection request, do I need to let them know that you're also ordering radon and explain why they just got 3 requests? A radon drop off and a radon pickup and an inspection and the termite inspection, like, okay, which one are all of these? So they can be prepared. Okay.
Do you go with your buyers for inspections?
It depends.
You go,
If they're wild and nilly and I think they might try to ask for a honey-do list, I go. If they have an inspector that I don't know, I go. If it's an inspector I trust that's not gonna scare somebody and like actually talk them through it, and like, yeah, then I'm usually okay with that. A lot of people think it's a liability to go to inspections, and I do let the buyer know that, like legally, it could be a liability if I go. So understand, if I go, I'm not inspecting your property. I'm not there to point things out. I'm there to make sure I also understand. So it might not translate well through a phone call from a home inspector. They're trying to explain something. Or if it's just kind of wonky property, you know.
That's why I ask, because my original training is told never go
Mhm.
because of the liability and everything, but
Yeah.
they're hearing more agents now.
Yeah.
Always go over. There's the option.
Cause you could go and just sit there. Like, you don't have to walk around with the appraisal, the inspector,
What would the benefit be in sitting there, you think?
to be available at the end to sort of like answer any questions or make the inspector explain it better. Like if they're like, I still don't understand what the stair stepping in the basement means. You
So
can
this is a
direct-
walkthrough. So you show up for the walkthrough. You don't sit through the whole home inspection. So a walkthrough should take, depending on the size of the house, 15, 30 minutes. So I wouldn't sit there at the walkthrough and then wait for that time to be up and be like, did you have any questions? I would like be looking and being like, okay, so is that a marginal defect, or is that like orange, or is that like yellow? What do you think while we're there?
Okay,
And YouTube gods. Another thing is some inspectors will mark things not as a safe, like a red. They're usually like red, orange, and yellow in my experience. Red is like needs immediate attention, safety risk. And then orange is like, I would monitor this, or I would have this further inspected by a specialist and a roofing specialist or whatever.
Yeah.
And then yellow is just like, this is kind of just part of like home ownership. This is a history report of your home. I just want to make you aware of this that I found. It doesn't mean that it's something that's wrong. So sometimes I'm like, is that an orange or is that a red? Like, buyer, how do you feel about this one? It's, you know, and I try not to put my thoughts into it.
right, yeah.
And I let the inspector explain it.
Okay.
And I've had inspectors not list things that the buyer was very concerned about, and rightfully so. And like, they were like, well, I don't care about that one. I don't care about that one. I don't care about missing a handrail. Like, I don't care about that, even though it's safety. And once you go to send your addendum over with your inspection, they're like, then the agent's like, well, that was in yellow. Like, well, it's very important to my buyer, and it's like the only thing they ask for, you know?
Okay.
Fine line.
Yeah.
I know. Sorry, YouTube gods. What am I doing at each point to bulletproof the transaction and set myself and my sellers up for a successful close? Sellers. Timelines, like he said. Over communicate, smother them in it. Event, like I tell Nick all the time, no one's gonna say you communicated with me too much. They're gonna be like, oh my God, leave me alone. They're thinking about stuff way more than you are right now. They're stressed. And if you're not there guiding them through it, they might think that you don't care. They might think that you don't know. They might think that, you know, they're not important, whatever. So, I always over communicate.
Last listing that closed last, after we got through defect notice, I actually gave him an update. Like, the text was update. There is no updates. I'm actually leaving you two alone for 24 to 48 hours just because you're enough.
Yes, yes.
Actually,
Like this, I also say sometimes it's a lot of hurry up and wait in real estate. We're in a waiting period. Remember how I said at the beginning, it would be a lot of hurry up and wait. Now we're just waiting to get that appraisal. We're through inspections. So you know, the appraisal is on Thursday. I would expect to have that up to 10 days. I'm seeing them come back a little quicker right now, but don't sweat it if we don't hear back like that day or the next day. You know, we'll regroup around then.
Because when they, so if you're a listing agent and they do an appraisal, the appraiser comes through, do you meet with the appraiser when they, no, okay.
only if they-
Huh?
So the only thing.
Well, then it's too late, then they're
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
So if you felt like it was a hard property to comp, I think sometimes they're very appreciative that you reached out to them. I asked for permission. Do you want me to email you any comps? Do you want me to leave you any comps? It's a lot easier to get to that price first than after and tell them they're wrong.
Yeah.
And if you have to do a reconsideration, the buyer's agent has to do that, not the listing agent. They don't like when a listing agent tries to do that because it's not their client. If the appraisal is the buyer's property.
Right.
So, I am not there, but I do reach out. I let them know they have a dog and base, you know, whatever. I just reach out. Hey, if you have any questions, let me know. And this is extra, but answer your phone, save your appraiser's numbers because when they call you, hey, your property on 123 Main Street, that was the highest sale you had in Covington. That was the highest sale in Covington in 6 months. And I just wanted to know, like, was there a situation or like, how did you get such a high sales price? Like, can you tell me about like when they appraise your properties? I think it helps because you try to help them.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think. All right. Oh boy. Okay. Pretty much what we just talked about in reverse. Inspector list to buyer. Okay. Ooh, 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 ooh. So we're gonna start at the bottom here for the seller. Marking a listing pending in the MLS. You have to do that within how many days?
48, 2 days. 3 days.
Okay. Send the inspection response to the sellers, because they're the agent will send it to you, and then you send it to the sellers. Remind them of how much time you have to respond. Schedule a phone call with them. You don't want to, you let them know, okay, I'm gonna send the agenda over in a couple minutes. I would like to get on a phone call with you tonight. What works best for you? You don't want to need your reaction. Oh my God. So let them know I'm 6 to 8 o'clock work for you. I'm ready to jump on a call and give you my undivided attention. And usually okay. And then working through that, scheduling the appraisal, like we said, it's gonna come through showing time. The app for showings, right? Send the seller a low appraisal response. Ooh, they're getting risky in here. So that would be letting them know it appraised under value. So during appraisal, what's the 3 things that can happen? Well,
Appraisal, I think below.
Right on the money.
And plot twist, it can have repairs needed. So what you want is as is or at value, no, what do they call it, conditions? No conditions.
I've never seen one right at value. So,
Oh, really? I swear, it's like they really try. Because like I'm like, how did they make that like $500? like, you know, like when you list the house, you could probably go maybe 5K over. It's like the appraisal is 300 over. Like, wow, come on. Let's see. And then after we get through appraisal, we're going to review the closing statements, and that's for the listing agent and the buyer's agent. So we didn't go over that last time. So once the buyer has all of their contingencies removed and they send that appraisal into underwriting, get that contingency removed. It's not just about price. The appraisal gets sent to the underwriter and they may say, this is in a very heavily commercial area. I see a lot of risk, whatever. Like things happen still, even after value. And then once the file is completely underwritten and they give it the green light, that's a clear close. So that's when the title is going to get the numbers from the lender. And you can get a preliminary closing statement. Like if your seller has a simultaneous closing and they're buying and you want to see like the funds and like what it's looking like, so they can send it maybe like to a lender or whatever, the listing agent on the other side. You can get a preliminary, maybe like a week before. But those final numbers are going to be when they get the clear close and they get the packet from the loan officer. So the buyer's loan officer lender is going to send that over and they're going to match up the numbers and then they're going to give you your final settlement statement, usually with a buyer and seller debits and credits on both sides. So, that was a lot.
I think that's the most confusing part of the whole thing.
Yeah. Information overload.
Well, the title statement is like, it's buyer credit, but it's like really a minus or something, you know, it's like reverse math.
Yes.
And that is the most confusing.
When I am confused, I don't care that I've been doing this today. I don't care that I've been doing this almost 9 years. I still call, but like, I just need to confirm. Because the way it is looking is this. You're like, no, you're right. Like, I was like, I did all, and when I'm confused, do all of the math yourself.
Yeah.
And you get to the end and you're like, okay, yeah, that's their net sheet was about that. Okay, we're good. I was like, hold on a minute.
Last week, was a condo, first condo I sold.
A lot of fees, huh?
Yeah, I reset luckily my TC's got 20 years experience. So
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
please look at that, just make sure I'm not missing anything.
So good, right?
Yeah.
Extra
I know,
eyes. Good for you. That's good to do that.
I know when I sold our duplex last fall, the title company messed up like 3 times. And I literally had to call her like 3 or 4 times to go, did you read the contract? I'm not paying any agent fees. So this, 6% needs to go away because there's no agent
Yeah,
on my side and I'm not paying the buyer agent.
yeah.
He's paying that. Do you not read the contract? And then there was like there was home warranty she put in there. And then there was something
She had a
else.
different file.
She was like, I think she was drunk. Like it was so
Hate when
bad.
that
It was like, are you drinking?
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Um,
Yeah, you can't just trust that it's right. Never.
Like that's why, like, I mean, I
Earnest
went
money
over-
gets put in the wrong side sometimes. Taxes, sometimes they
Yeah.
flip around.
Yeah.
That's another tip. You don't have to close on a Friday. Oh my God, close on a Thursday or Wednesday. Like if it's not important to anybody to close on Friday, try to close on a Wednesday or Thursday because Friday is the busiest day. And that's when more mistakes happen. Pro tip. Okay. Common interaction points. Communication of deadlines. We already know this, right? We can do the Gmail, we can do text lists, like the calendar invites, we can do update emails. This is what happened last week. This is what's happening now. This is what's happening next week. Lots of ways to skin the cat. Communication of the contract to other parties. You want to send your seller a copy of the contract, right? They may need a copy of the contract showing that they're under contract so they can get their offer accepted on a new house. They may need it to turn into the attorney for their bankruptcy. They may need to send it to their divorce lawyer. So all kinds of things. But they get a copy regardless. Send contract to the title company. A lot of times the seller doesn't know the title company yet. So that's more of a buyer agent thing in my opinion. By the way, this class is for the whole country. So sometimes there's things that are a little different in other areas. Scheduling and communication with inspectors and the buyer's agent. Like I said, let's say you get like all those responses or requests, and you're like, Why did it skip 4? They didn't specify what each one was for. Could you clarify that so we are in a full understanding with the seller? You know, did they order radon? Is that getting dropped off? Because they didn't say that, you know? I just like sellers to know.
Yeah.
Who's coming in my house and what are they doing?
And that has to, when they do clarify it, that has to be now in an addendum. Like, they can't clarify in an email, they have to clarify.
Oh,
like, in-
inspections, if they get full home inspections, they don't have to. do
Okay,
it.
got it.
Good question. Sending amendments or inspection reports to the other side, title and lending. So lots of touches, right, Brandon? Lots of moving parts, things going on. So you can see why a seller or a buyer's head might kind of start spinning.
If you're a seller, do you not want the inspection report? Like,
Well, yes, you never want the entire report. Some agents will be a little lazy, lackadaisical. And I'm like, I want the whole report. Okay, if you're gonna send me screenshots, just the 3 items you asked for.
Yeah.
And like, even sometimes if they're wild and nilly, I'm like, I don't want to see anything until I talk to my seller first. And see if this is even something we can work out, right? You sent me a 2-page addendum for inspections, we might be too far apart. We were at multiple offers.
because isn't there something where if they email it to you, even if you don't open it? Like technically.
It now becomes a patent defect, like you're aware of it, but again, it's subjective. If they say it's mold, does that mean it's dangerous mold? Like, yeah, do you have to, you know, so it's funny because the agent sent stuff over to us and we didn't ask for it yet. Yeah, like we just had a phone call yesterday about like this novel that you wrote.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, I have 5 minutes. I didn't even get to the referral part.
Okay.
Is this an active communication or document? We went over a lot of the documents. On this side, they're all gonna be the same as far as like a defect notice. Hi, Tom. To whom and from is the document going? On the selling side, you rarely have any communication with the lender. That's the buy side. They're gonna keep their cards close because they are with the buyer, right? You're not gonna talk to the appraiser, like you're gonna talk to your agent as the seller. Everything's being filtered through that listing agent. Now at closing, they might want to change phone numbers, whatsoever. Bass Pathway. Okay, are we good on this?
Yep.
We already went over this. Already went over that.
Hey,
Command.
we reached it.
I know, command opportunities. I was trying to pull one up that I had already closed so I could go through it, and I don't know what is going on with my command. I have some active fire. It says I have 0 closed fires. That's a lie. And my team account isn't pulling up, so
Command. Command is.
it must be going through.
It's hormonal.
It's in its field today. So I'm
Yes.
not gonna get to show that.
The Monday-est Tuesday ever.
Yes. So in command, when you set an opportunity, make an opportunity, Brandon, this is probably mostly for you, my friend. This handshake right here, that's where you have an opportunity and you start one there. That's it. That's all they gave me. You have my number. I'm happy to talk to you or help you through any of it.
Peyton does an command
Yes.
onboarding. Have you done it yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
I think I might have done
Yeah.
Right.
Opportunity, I mean, you can set an opportunity for like a really warm lead. Like, even if you didn't meet them yet, you're cultivating that, right? You don't have to have the appointment. So if you just know someone's interested in real estate, that's when they are an opportunity.
That's what I was gonna ask you, like, does it skew your number? So like my friends, they, like, she already knows, like, it's probably 6 months out till they want to list their house, just because they know they want to do all the things that have to be done.
Yeah.
But they may or may not buy a house, depending on if they find the right house. But if I start an opportunity with them, does it skew the number? Because
Like, it would be a fallout.
yeah,
You could say it's just cultivating. I don't think I think it's a fallout whenever you have a signed agreement or a contract. Okay, like under contract and it fell out, because then you might have to sharpen your negotiation skills.
Got it, okay, so that's where it skews, the numbers,
Yeah.
not
I don't
necessarily
think
if it's
with,
just
like-
sitting there. Okay,
All right. Oh, we did so great, you guys. Best practices and risk avoidance. I'm gonna fly through this even faster. People are coming in. Communicate clearly and often, set expectations upfront, maintain professionalism throughout. What are best practices to get deal alive? Being proactive, so the expectations, and knowing the timelines and where is the deal at risk of falling apart. Mostly, I think it is timelines and just not getting an addendum over in time, not following up on an appraisal that you haven't heard back from in like a week and a half. Like, so there's also a due back date on appraisals. As the buyer's agent, you need to contact the lender. When is the due back date? So the appraiser did the appraisal on Monday, but the due back date is Friday. So it is due back to the underwriter by Friday. So that's something I learned a couple years down the road. What are the best practices to keep the deal alive? William, what do you think? I love that. Yeah, that's good. That's Keller Williams. Win-win or no deal, right? It's one of the Y4C2 Ts. Where are those at? They used to be in here. Always have your client's best interest, even when it seems to conflict with your own. I need to get paid, but this house is terrible. So you know that they are like FHA financing. You know that, I know, Kristen, I gotta wrap it up. So this house is like a lot. You want to call that agent first, say, my buyer is FHA, like, do we even need to see this house? Is it, do you think this is gonna work? Is it, should I go, you know, do some legwork up front. For referrals and reviews, repeat business, referral business, and client reviews. Repeat business really starts to take place between years 3 and 5, because you kind of have enough under your belt to where they're either going to buy again, sell and buy. They trust you. They see you've closed a lot of deals. Your family and friends are like, oh, she knows what she's doing. She's posting closing every week, I feel like. And referral business, lenders can send referrals. I've had a roofer send me a referral. He's on a roof. Someone said they wanted the list. He gave me their contact with her permission. Client reviews. I definitely could get better at that. Client reviews. When you go to like schedule an Airbnb, do you just like look at the location and the price, or do you look at all the reviews?
all the reviews.
We're a review-driven society. I think that is a huge link where we are missing, is getting reviews, because we aren't taught to like brag on ourselves in real estate necessarily. And if you're not getting your clients to brag on you, you're probably not going to do it. This is a long class. So this is probably where I'm going to stop. Ask for the review at every conversation throughout the transaction with the buyer seller and at the close of the transaction. Now, we're not like getting off the phone. Hey, Kendall, just want to let you know that the appraisal came back at value. So are you going to give me a referral? Or like, you know, you're going to maybe do that in like an email, you know?
After the close.
Happy moments during the contract, you're gonna just kind of a little nudge in the email. You might have a link that they can click on. I wouldn't say like every text, you're like asking them about that. All right, we're just gonna have to cut it off.
You were amazing, as usual.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay in this meeting.
when do you guys ask for referrals? Not referrals, excuse me, reviews. When do you ask for reviews? At the closing table?
The listing appointment, buyer consults, after contract. And, yeah. Closing.
Yeah. Yep, yep.
So you want to capture them when they're most excited?